This was the 2015 TCR International Series at Monza in Italy. Two incredible races saw first two, then three, and finally four cars running side by side down the start-finish straight. No wonder that a week later the drivers involved still had broad smiles on their faces.
Yeah, I think it's been the best overtaking maneuver in my career.
I was watching my mirror and I've got just 3 centimeters on the right and 3 centimeters on the left.
So yeah, it was such a good race, so fun to be behind the wheel. And
funny and exciting again.
Incidents involving Gianni Morbidelli and Stefano Comini brought criticism for Morbidelli's apparent aggressive driving style at Monza, with Comini describing the incidents as the work of a coward.
If there is no limit, it's easier to push someone out.
We are running at 250 more or less, and it could be dangerous.
And then we see Morbidelli touching 3 times Comini and 1 me.
Gianni, if you want to take me out, it's okay, but on the side, not behind, okay?
Everyone is free to say what they think, and but I don't want to talk about it.
No love lost between the pair then, and their battle for the TCR drivers' title resumes at the Salzburgring in Austria. Like Monza, it's an old-fashioned circuit that nestles in a valley overlooked by snow-capped mountains.
With very quick corners, some dangerous.
Heavy for the front left tire.
Fast corners, some banking, it's a bit exciting on this side.
We will see again a fight with the slipstream.
Friday morning saw a test session for all of the teams, allowing drivers to remind themselves of the track layout or to acquaint themselves with the Salzburgring for the very first time. After failing to score any points at Monza following an incident in race 1, it was Sergei Afanasiev who was fastest in the Kraft Bamboo Lukoil Seat. Qualifying for rounds 11 and 12 of the TCR International Series at the Salzburgring, and in the 20-minute first stage it was the Seat Leons that dominated. After Pepe Oriola had been quickest in both free practice sessions, this time it was the target competition car of Stefano Comini that set the early pace, ahead of Oriola and Jordi Genet. The winner of both races in Monza 1 week earlier, Gianni Morbidelli, is carrying 30 kilos of success ballast in Salzburg and could only manage to set the 7th quickest time. Hungary's Zsolt Szabo ended his qualifying session in the tyre wall at turn 4. Looking at a replay of the incident, you can clearly see the damage caused by the incident that meant he'd play no further part. Target competition, meanwhile, strengthened their grip on qualifying when Andrea Bellicchi went quicker than Stefano Comini to make it a 1-2 for the team. Neither of the Campos Racing Opel Astras went through to Q2. Fernando Monge struggled after the team had to change his engine, while Marcus Osterreich, making his TCR debut, spun off backwards in the dying seconds of Q1. And so, to the 10-minute thrash that was Q2. Just as in Monza, getting into a slipstream from a teammate is vital to setting a good time, and both Kraft Bamboo Lukoil and Target Competition had clearly worked out their tactics. Target appeared to have timed their runs perfectly, with Comini setting the fastest time. But on the very last lap, both the Hondas of Kevin Gleeson and Gianni Morbidelli beat Comini's time, to the delight of the West Coast Racing team. Gleeson then takes his 2nd pole position of the season.
Absolutely pumped to do it on the last lap. Just was a great feeling. Hopefully the team's excited. I'm sure they are. They worked so hard, and yeah, I was just really envisioning, putting in a good weekend this weekend after bad luck at Monza with the punctures. So just super pumped.
Gleeson starts round 11 from pole with Morbidelli alongside him, while the reverse top 10 means Igor Shkuz in the other Honda will be on pole for round 12. Hello everyone, this is Mark James welcoming you to Austria and what promises to be two very exciting races at the Salzburgring. 4.24 kilometers, nestling in a valley on the outskirts of the city of Salzburg itself. 13 corners, far more right-handers than left-handers, something like 4 going left, 9 going right, making up one single lap of what has to be the prettiest racing circuit that the TCR International Series visits during the year. There is the green flag being waved. We're waiting for the lights on the right-hand side of your screen. The red lights come on, they go off, and we are racing in a brilliant start from Kevin Gleeson. Not such a good start from Morbidelli on the left of your screen. And in fact, it is already Comini who is tucked in behind Gleeson. And I think one of the Craft Bamboo Lukoil cars also tucked in. That's Jordi Genet having already got past, and there's contact between the two. So in fact, Morbidelli hangs on, but behind, I was going to say, one of the Engstler cars had a very brave line going down to the first chicane. That not paying off for Mikhail Grachev. That was an extremely ambitious line as the cars went down to the first chicane, and indeed it didn't come off. This is the right-hander at Nockstein at the western end of the circuit. You see there the cars starting to climb up, accelerating from third gear through Nockstein up into sixth as they come over the brow, and then it's a drag down to the right-hander at Ostschleife. And you get an idea of the climb up the hill and also the settings of this lovely little old-fashioned track, opened in 1969 and used for pretty much everything over the years, particularly bikes, as Valia has a look at the inside, switches his line, but no, Skuz holds the line as they take the right-hander. Nukia just that little bit further back, having a spectator's eye view of the action, as did Skuz run slightly wide there. Talking to Stefano Comini this morning, he was saying that as we look back at the start, and a fantastic start from Kevin Gleeson, Morbidelli bogs down leaving the start line. And let's see if we can look back up the start line. This should be a better angle to see Mikhail Grachev going up the right-hand side of your screen as you look at it. It was never really going to pay off. There he goes. That's Morbidelli on the right, just bumping and banging as we look from Pepe Oriola's car. Gleeson then from Comini, from Morbidelli. Then it's Pepe Oriola, Jordi Genet, as Grachev comes in. We've already seen 7 winners in the TCR International Series this year. Can Kevin Gleeson hold on to become our 8th winner? Or will Stefano Comini take his 3rd win, or indeed Gianni Morbidelli his 4th? Morbidelli, though, moving up behind Comini, just out of shot. There is Igor Skuz. I mentioned Skuz earlier on. Let's have a look to see if we can... And there is Skuz on the left of your picture, getting it sideways at the Ostschleife, getting right across the track and being very lucky to escape relatively unscathed. There is Igor's family on the left there, and I think the body language says it all. Skuz. This is what I was saying. Can Morbidelli get tucked up inside the aerodynamic bubble that's being created by Stefano Comini, punching a hole through the relatively clean air? The Honda pretty much on the rev limiter as no, indeed, he just thinks better of it. And so Comini holds off Morbidelli for another lap as Michel Nukia comes in to the pits, and I have no idea why, if there's a problem with the car. Nukia had been in 10th place. That's Stefano Comini and Morbidelli on the outside line going around this right-hander. Whoa, centimetres between the pair as they go through. But you have to say very clean. And I suspect the stewards will be looking very closely as Morbidelli makes contact with, that's Pepe Oriola. I was just going to say, and Morbidelli flashes his lights in frustration as 3 cars get past Morbidelli. He took a lunge up the inside of Stefano Comini. ill-advised, and as a result, got that complex ever so slightly wrong, allowing 2 of the 3 Craft Bamboo Lukoil cars and 1 of the target competition cars to get past. So it's now Genet ahead of Beliki, ahead of Oriola. Let's have a look at it then. This is from Oriola's car. There's Morbidelli, who doesn't appear to know that Oriola's there. He turns into him and suffers as a result. And you'd have to say that that was in no way Oriola's fault. Morbidelli appeared not even to be aware that the Seat was there. So Genet and Beliki are the 2 drivers who've benefited from that. Genet now up into 3rd, Beliki 4th, but Genet, remember, carrying 20 kilos of success ballast and Beliki carrying 10. And there is Franz Engstler, team boss, helping with the repairs on Mikhail Grachev's car. And ahead you see the gap between Kevin Gleeson and Stefano Camini quite a long way ahead of this scrap. And there's Morbidelli indeed past Pepe Oriola. So he retakes 1 place at least. 3, that's Zolt Jarbo. He appeared for the first time in the series just a week ago in Monza, and body damage, and also you see the flailing front left, the tyre in bits. And yes, that is at the Ostschleife, the first of the 2 right-handers at the eastern end of the circuit. Jarbo going through the gravel and possibly making contact with the tyre barriers, and he's making his way back towards the pits, with Gianni Morbidelli waiting to pounce should either of these 2 have a problem. But Morbidelli moves up to just behind Beliki. Beliki, though, has he done it this time on the right side of the track? Genet moves across. But no, indeed, Beliki's got the line. He's got the line for the right-hander. He edges just ahead, the target competition car. The blue Seat Leon on the inside line for the right-hander. Morbidelli all over the back of Jordi Genet's car, but Beliki takes 3rd place away from Gianni Morbidelli on the penultimate lap of this 15-lap race. They go around the right-hander with Morbidelli also taking a look at Jordi Genet. A puff of smoke from Genet's tyre. And Genet moves over to the left. Oh, gets it all wrong, going through the gravel. And almost hitting Morbidelli as he comes through. But he had a go, Jordi Genet, at taking 3rd place back from Andrea Beliki. It didn't pay off. And so it's Morbidelli now who's all over the back of Genet's car. Let's take a look at that back again. Genet lunges up the inside on the left-hand line, but runs wide, takes to the gravel, allowing Beliki back past. And Morbidelli, very lucky to avoid contact with Jordi Genet as he comes back on. Whew. Last lap. As we look at Kevin Gleeson coming round the right-hander, the left-hander, excuse me, for the final time, and takes the checkered flag, becoming our 8th winner of the season. And indeed, Beliki, Genet and Morbidelli finish in that order, with Pepe Oriola behind. Whew. A look at the results from round 11. We're now halfway through the TCR International Series season. Kevin Gleeson takes his 1st win of the year ahead of Stefano Camini and Andrea Beliki, with Jordi Genet, Gianni Morbidelli, Pepe Oriola, Lorenzo Valia, Sergei Avanasiev, Bas Schouten and Marcus Österreich.
Kevin Gleeson, congratulations, your first victory in the TCR International Series. A great feeling for you.
Yeah, absolutely, a tremendous feeling. I've wanted this so badly all season. I've worked my way up to it, and after a tough weekend in Monza, the whole team, everybody's rebounded, and we've worked so hard. And pole position and 1 race win so far, my first one of the season, and I couldn't be more excited. And I mean, this one's definitely for everyone on West Coast Racing. They just worked so hard, and I'm really thankful to be a part of their team.
As the cars form up, we're waiting for the green flag from the back of the grid. There it is. We look at the lights, and it's the bottom row of lights. Red lights on, and off. We're away. Igor Shkuz starts well, I think. The drag down to the first chicane has Michel Nukia just got his nose in front. And Shkuz, you have to say, has been sidelined out on the left-hand side of the track. Nukia already starting to come away, and Shkuz just being nudged by Grachev, who also does pretty much the same as he did the first race, and he takes to the escape road, as does Shkuz. As Michel Nukia leads a target competition 1, 2, 3. Nukia ahead of Beliki, ahead of Kamini, who's made his way up from 8th place on the grid to be in 3rd as they go through the right-hander at the Nockstein. And I wonder if words will be said between Shkuz and Grachev at the end of the race. There is Shkuz as we look down the hill to the 3 target competition cars with the 2 Craft Bamboo Lukoil cars just turned. Whoa, that was, I think, Janae just taking to the grass and getting it sideways. And that is, in fact, Shkuz and Bas Schouten. Gleason having got past that incident and up into 10th place. This is the incident involving, Shkuz seemingly turning across Bas Schouten. And that's coming into the chicane at turn 11. That left-hander I mentioned much earlier in the day. As we take a look at the race start, an absolutely stunning start. And we look, this is the incident that saw Grachev force Shkuz into the escape road. We're on board with Kamini, I would have said. And indeed, there go Grachev and Shkuz. Nukia, Beliki and Kamini, 1, 2 and 3. Now, that seemed to be an awfully strong start from Stefano Kamini, and indeed, if you look at the top of the screen, a jump start by Stefano Kamini, under investigation by the stewards. So we'll see what the stewards have to say about that possible jump start by Stefano Kamini. But at the end of lap 4, it is still Nukia who leads from Andrea Beliki, Stefano Kamini. Then it's the 2 Craft Bamboo Lukoil cars of Jordi Janei and Pepe Oriola. And Lorenzo Valia has got past Mikhail Grachev. Ooh, contact between the pair. Grachev just tapping Valia, but no long-lasting damage. That is Kamini who's pulled up. Kamini running slowly in the background, so what on earth has happened to Stefano Kamini? Back up to speed quite quickly, so was there contact while we were looking at the scrap between the 2 Engstler cars? As Morbidelli goes up the outside of Lorenzo Valia, of Mikhail Grachev going up the hill. Grachev, though, holding on, but there's smoke, possibly from a tyre rubbing on the bodywork, but it's Morbidelli who's got the inside line, and Avanasiev goes through as well. Avanasiev, and indeed, the stewards have decided to give Stefano Kamini a drive-through penalty. So a drive-through for Stefano Kamini. Plus, there was that problem. There he is in the background. So the team will be telling him to take that penalty. Now, this is looking back. There is contact. And that's where Janei got past, but it didn't seem to be that strong a contact. And indeed, Stefano Kamini immediately takes his drive-through. The incident between Schouten and Shkuz is under investigation, car 20 and car 34. As we look down at Andrea Beliki, looking at Michel Nukia as Lorenzo Valia dives up the inside of Jordi Janei, but runs wide, has to go through the gravel. And a bump from Jordi Janei, allowing both Morbidelli and Pepe Oriola to go past. Oriola on the grass. And that, I was just about to say, that cone won't be doing any good for Sergei Afanasyev, but it pops out. And smoke coming from the back of Jordi Janet's car as he goes up. That's from the front of Jordi Janet's car, front left, which was the problem corner, as we've been saying. And that would appear to be a puncture rubbing on the bodywork, or is it? Difficult to say from this angle, but you can see that there is body damage to the front of Janet's car, as once again Grachev and Gleeson locked in battle for 8th place. Now let's have a look back at this incident then. Valia locks up, runs through the gavel, cuts the corner, Janet bumps him, and it's Afanasyev that's forced onto the grass. This is what the view looked like from Morbidelli's car. Boomf. Thank you very much, says Morbidelli. I'll take advantage of that fact. So Morbidelli up into 4th. That looks to be the end of the challenge from Campos Racing as Marcus Österreich. And this is where it happened, coming up the back of the straight, and exactly where Gleeson had attacked before. This time he makes it stick, gets past Grachev on the left-hand side. Grachev dropping back, and another replay. That is Andrea Beliki, who'd been in 2nd place. Beliki running very, very wide. Oh, don't know what happened there. There didn't seem to be any obvious reason for that. So Nukia then now has a sizable lead, but it's Gianni Morbidelli all over the back of Pepe Oriola's car as they go round the Ostschleife. Morbidelli on the outside and not making contact, I don't think, with Pepe Oriola, but it was very close. Into the left-hander, then into the chicane. Pepe Oriola's dad, also called Pepe. You can sense the nerves there, can't you? From the paddock as Morbidelli takes a look at the left-hand side, closes to within a few centimetres of Pepe Oriola. They go round the left-hander, the 6th gear corner at the Ostschleife, before dropping down from 6th into 3rd for the Fahrerlager curve. There is Nukia, and a drive-through penalty for Lorenzo Valia. And that was for the incident in which he cut the chicane, I would suspect. So a drive-through penalty for Lorenzo Valia. Valia currently in 5th place. He will have been told by the team to come in as soon as possible. Sergei Afanasyev in 4th. So at the start then of, and that was Valia going in to do his drive-through penalty. This, the penultimate lap. And has Pepe Oriola done enough? And into the pits comes Lorenzo Valia. And it would appear not. Michel Nukia starting to come under pressure from Pepe Oriola, but it's too little too late from Oriola as Michel Nukia rounds the final left-hander and takes the checkered flag for the 2nd time this season. Pepe Oriola finishes 2nd, Gianni Morbidelli 3rd, Sergei Afanasyev 4th, Andrea Beliki 5th, Kevin Gleeson in 6th place. Confirmation then, and all smiles at target competition. Let's get confirmation then of the result of round 12 of the 2015 TCR International Series. Michel Nukia takes his 2nd win of the year, ahead of Pepe Oriola by less than half a second. Gianni Morbidelli finishes 3rd ahead of Sergei Afanasyev. Andrea Beliki, Kevin Gleeson, Mikhail Grachev, Stefano Comini, Bas Schouten, and Jordi Janet takes the single point for finishing in 10th place.
Michel Nukia, great victory for you at the Salzburgring, the 2nd one for you in the season so far.
Yeah, it's fantastic. 2 victories in this season. I had a little bit of trouble here in the qualifying session. But here, when I have Beliki behind me, you know, I said, no, my teammate will not overtake me. So I push everything I can. And sorry for him, there was oil on the track, but it's the same for me. Maybe I saw it before him. So yeah, that's the rules here in the racing.
And then confirmation also of our drivers' points. 18 points the advantage now that Gianni Morbidelli has over Stefano Comini. 4 points behind Comini is Pepe Oriola, and a slight gap back then to Jordi Janet. Beliki and Gleeson on the same number of points, and then it's 30 points, 35 points back to Michel Nukia. But remember, 25 points for a victory 5 points on offer for scoring pole position in qualifying, and we're just starting the second half of the season, so an awfully long way to go. Ladies who've handed out the champagne make a swift, tactical retreat. This time it's the battle of the champagne bottles. Pepe Oriola very sensibly getting out of the way. That then was the Salzburgring in Austria. We have a slight break of 3 weeks before the next rounds at Sochi in Russia. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.